Alright, hello everybody. Today we are going to do a catch and release episode, and our featured guest star is the mighty Searobin. If you're not familiar with this fish, it is very common throughout the Northeast. It's a saltwater species, can be found throughout the bayshore and throughout the ocean side. And it is a much maligned and underappreciated trash fish. And I say trash fish because unfortunately Searobins have gotten a really bad reputation for stealing your bait or only catching Searobins when you're trying to catch more desirable species such as fluke. But they're actually delicious to eat, they're fun to catch, and on a very slow day of fluke fishing or whatever type of fishing you're doing, Searobins can make up for it in action. And as far as table quality goes, it's hard to beat. The way I see it is anything that eats crabs or shrimp is gonna taste good on the plate, and these guys, that's their primary forage: grass, shrimp, and crabs and minnows. Sometimes when you cut one of these open, it'll be just chock full of crabs or shrimp. The meat is extremely mild tasting. It's very flaky, it's delicious. And there's quite a few old salts out there who will say that it's probably better than fluke. So don't just throw these fish out when you catch one, and please, for God's sake, don't catch one, stomp on its head, kill it, and then throw it back in the water. Keep it. They're really good to eat, and they're surprisingly easy to clean. So first and foremost, let's talk about the anatomy of the Searobin, why it's called the Searobin. And if you look right here, see its large pectoral fins, you'll understand why. Alright, so it's got a nice shovel head here that it uses to dig into the sand and mud to dig up the crabs. It uses the large pectoral fins and its dorsal fin that can actually go inside, tucked in there, to fight against strong currents. And it also uses its large pectoral fins to put a lot of pressure against whenever you hook into one, so it feels like you're hooked into something much bigger than what it really is. Alright, so let's get started with this fish. And it's, like I said, it's very simple to clean, and we're going to start off by just laying it on its side, and we're going to remove one fillet and remove the other fillet right afterwards, and we're just going to take out this whole meat section right here. So let's get started. Okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to lay this fish on its side with the belly towards you. We're going to lift up its pectoral fin right here. Lift up these fins on the bottom, and right behind the head, just be careful of the spiky horns it has right here. I'm going to cut right here, right behind the pectoral fin, down to 45-degree angle. And wow, this guy is full of eggs. Alright, so and cut down. Around this little bone right here, which is part of the fin. Once you cut down, turn your knife sideways against the backbone. And just ride it down all the way to the tail. And remove the fillet. And put this aside. Now, look at that. Look at the meat on that fillet. It's all white meat, delicious, really good. And you can use it for anything you want. As you can see, that's a nice bit of meat on that tail right there. So let's do the other side. I'm going to flip this guy over. Same thing, lift up. Right behind the head. Down to the backbone. And we're going to ride the backbone down all the way to the tail and release the fillet. Scrape off the innards right there. Second fillet. Now this we can just discard. If this were a different episode, I'd showed you a recipe for cooking the eggs and the sperm sacs on the sea robins. But this isn't that kind of episode, so we're gonna skip that part. We're gonna clean this off real quick. All right, so here we have two beautiful all white meat fillets right there. Look how beautiful that is. The only thing we need to do here is remove the rib cage, and there's just a small set of pin bones that we have to cut out here, and then all that is all meat. Now if you wanted to, one thing you can do is you can kind of, we won't need this part right here. You can cut that part out. If you wanted to, you could cut that into some small strip baits, and you can just dust them with kosher salt and throw them in the freezer, and you can use that as strip bait for fluke fishing if you want to. You can also cut another strip out here if you wanted to do that as well, and you'll still have plenty of meat for that. So if you catch a whole bunch of sea robins, you can actually supply yourself with a good amount of strip baits. Alright, next thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the skin off the fillet. Start off with the tail, cut down, grab the skin, and then just ride it down nice and gently, pulling on the skin and pushing on the knife at the same time. And there we go, remove the skin. There you go. The only thing we're going to do now is just remove the ribs. Move the ribs. Like I said, there's just a small set of pin bones right here, and you can feel them. I don't know if you can hear them, but they're right here, and all we're going to do is cut on one side of those pin bones, and then cut on the other. And that's it. There you go. That meat is completely boneless. As you can see, it's a really nice chunk of meat. Catch a couple of these, you have more than enough for a really good meal. By the way, these guys right here, if you bread them or dip them in batter and fry them up, you can't go wrong with that at all. I mean, they're just delicious. If you can also just saute them in a pan, you can do whatever you want with these. They'll come out really, really good. Really mild tasting, white flesh. You can make them however you want, and they will come out delicious. So let's just finish off the other fillet, and we'll be done here. Okay, so same thing. Start up the tail, start cutting in, get a good grip on the skin while you push with the knife. There we go. Flip this guy over and remove the ribs. And then we have the pin bones right here. You can feel them. Cut on one side. And then cut right on the other. Make that V cut. There you go. Two beautiful fillets ready to go. Alright, hope you enjoyed. You know, please share and subscribe. If you enjoyed this, you know, please make use of those sea robins out there. They're coming in full force right now. We're coming into the late spring, early summer when they're out there, and give them a try. You'll be pleasantly surprised. All right, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later.